We have quite a bit to talk about this morning, Manchester United fans. Welcome along to the live show this morning here on FUTV United TV. The morning before the day that is going to be huge for Ruben Amorim, that Liverpool game tomorrow. We'll touch on what has been said through the latter stages of yesterday and last night as well on the game. Of course, we've got the embargo version of the press conference coming later this evening as well, which will probably bring you tomorrow morning. But first of all, today, I want to start with the Nicky and Paul Scholes slaughtering is what I would call it, slaughtering of Manchester United's current management and academy setup. Academy being the interesting part in that, particularly with Nicky Butt actually being part of Manchester United's academy before. We're going to go into all of that and what they have both said about what's happening with Manchester United. We're going to get your opinions on that. Should the former players be slaughtering what once was their bread and butter, what they came through? Do they have a right, because they have been through Manchester United's academy, to go in so much on them? All the quotes coming up in the show this morning. We're going to talk about Marcus Rashford and Joshua Zirkzee's career also. Which one academy player survived when all of the first team players came back? Remember the rested players? We brought in a few academy players, didn't we, to cover them in training. One has survived, a key player. We'll talk about that also. Garnacho's been running his mouth again. It's embarrassing. And the surprise managerial candidate that could possibly be in line for the manager's job at United if, and it's a big if Ruben Amorim did get the boot. Right, in we go. Apologies, first of all, there was no content last night. I wasn't feeling the best. My voice is still struggling. I'm trying to manage the content minutes at the moment because it's a big day tomorrow, so I'm limiting what I am and not doing. I went out with Kaz last night. We had a night off. There was, it was better than sitting here trying to struggle through a voice anyway, but we're okay. It sounds worse than what it is. Just trust me on that one, anyone who has sent me messages as well. I am okay. I'm just trying to save the voice. I can't even laugh without thinking I'm going to go into a coughing fit at the moment. We'll get through it and we'll be all right. But yeah, I'll let you know what's happening with the afternoon content, particularly on Football Talks as well. We're supposed to be doing watch along later on this evening, so I'll keep you all up to date with everything that's happening there. But Manchester United is the main subject. Manchester United is what we want to talk about this morning. It is the big game tomorrow. Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes played their fair share of Liverpool-Manchester United games. And it's these two with their new podcast that are really causing a stir at the moment. And they are going in on Manchester United, from hiring of management to what's happening with Ruben Amorim. But in particular, their quotes and Nicky Butt's absolute blast on Manchester United's academy at the moment. You could go back to the phrase, it's the taking part that counts, not the winning. Now, you know that doesn't fly around Manchester United. And I think this is where Nicky Butt's comments have come in. Him saying that Manchester United are just not breeding winners. The academy has really dropped off. Manchester United's stance on this and on creating what is good for the actual the boys coming through the academy. Now, I have obviously had a big part and interviewed several people in and around Manchester United's academy. Travis Binion, who's the current under-21 manager, the former head of Manchester United's academy, Nick Cox, as well. And their whole push, and I can tell you this definitely, that their whole push was to give the best the best advice and create the best environment for them to move on in life. Now, Nicky Butt's part of this, and what I mean move on in life, like even if they didn't get into Manchester United's first team, because there's only a certain amount of players that get through, obviously they want to make sure that they're setting them up and looking after them in a way where even if they didn't make it, they can move on comfortably. That's what I meant by life. But Nicky Butt's going in and saying that this is just a softy approach from Manchester United's academy, and that they are not breeding winners. They should be winning everything at academy level. They need to be winning the FA Youth Cup. They need to be winning the Under-21 League, the Under-18s League, everything all the way through. You have to breed winners. And this is where United's academy has gone wrong. And there is a part of that you could look at and say, well, Nicky's right, because we're not bringing many academy players through at the moment. There isn't as many as what there used to be. I know it's difficult and you're never going to get the golden age like we used to have, but still, is there a point here where Nicky Butt is actually right? Nicky is actually saying that Manchester United's approach is failing these young youth prospects coming through at Manchester United. When he says that they're not breeding winners, it's okay if you don't win at academy level. It's just about the actual player and picking out the odd one or two. He says you're going to get more players if you breed a team of winners. If you get that mentality drilled into these players at an early age that you have to win. I know it's different and it's a different era altogether, but should there be that part of it? Should there be an element of you are going to win? You're at Manchester United. You're going to win at under 14s, 15s, 16s, 17s. Then you're into 18s. And this is where you start getting picked up. This is where the Manchester United manager, whoever it is, may start looking at some games and start bringing you into Manchester United's first team. This is where I think Nicky Butt is getting at. And I think that there is a part of Nicky Butt that's right in this as well. But then again, I do think it's this is how it worked for us back in the day. And the world has changed since Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes were coming through Manchester United's academy. I mean, you can look at the fact that they came through in the 90s and they were probably thinking that this is actually normal and okay, whereas they didn't have social media, they didn't have mobile phones. There was no communication to the outside world as easy as it is. In fact, there was no internet. This is what you were dealing with when they were coming through the academy. And so I get what he's saying and I get the mentality side of things. But the sports science, like I said, the internet, the social media aspect of everything like that, it really is different now. And I love the winning mentality thing, but I do think he has to obviously take a bit of a rain check on what he's saying. And you could say, and look, and he did say in this, and to be fair to Nicky, I've interviewed Nicky Butt before as well. He's absolutely sound, proper Gorton, Manchester lad. No pulling any punch. He just says it as it is. And I actually prefer people like Nicky Butt and the way that he talks. But you know what I mean by this, don't you? It's like you cannot just go full on black and white. This has to be the way it goes. Like Nicky was part of it, and he did say in the podcast, he did say that I'm not just saying this out of sour grapes because I used to work there and things like this. And he used to be part of Manchester United's academy, and then he left and Nick Cox came in, and now we've lost Nick Cox, and it's moved on again. So again, is that a sign that with it changing all the time that they've realised that it's not right? So Jim Radcliffe coming in now has actually moved towards and has actually come out and said that the academy needs to do more for Manchester United. There needs to be more players coming through. But is it a case of we need to be winning at every level and there needs to be a bit more of a harder line with Manchester United's academy players coming through, whatever age group it actually is? Look, I don't think Manchester United's academy is doing bad, and I've been a big admirer of Manchester United's youth setup and everything like that, and I think they are making real changes. Again, it's easy to say that it's not working because you're not getting as many players through. I mean, look, we have brought players through and they have been absolutely, well, you could say world beating players to a certain degree, and then they've fallen off because of their mentality, attitude, and that whole we have got this life and now it's all done. I think there's a lot more what Manchester United are trying to do to these players to build a mentality of actually accepting that you haven't made it yet now because of what's happened before. So thrusting players through that are demanding 200 grand a week wages, that are demanding starting lineups and should be getting more minutes on the pitch and not actually listening to managers. Do you know what? You know what I'm talking about here. Your Rashfords, your Garnachos, your Mainus, these types of players that are real. I'm not saying holding Manchester United back. I'm just saying this is an example if you push it too fast with academy players. So I get what Nicky Butt's saying, but on top of that, I'll come into the comment section in a minute, everybody, as well. So get your thoughts in there, please. Pile in. On top of that, they've gone in saying, why are Manchester United employing, and this was a Paul Scholes one. Paul Scholes can't handle the fact that Manchester United are hiring former Manchester City employees. Now, I get that. There is a big part of that as a United man. And his stance on this was that you don't want that as a Manchester United man. You don't want that as a Man United supporter. Look, this is where I don't agree with Paul Scholes on this one. It's like, you got to get football people in place. They're just people that are going to do a job. That's it. I don't think Paul Scholes was moaning when Michael Owen scored in the last minute when we beat Manchester City 4-3. You know what I mean? He's not a Manchester man. He's a Liverpool man. But he scored a winning goal in the depths of injury time to beat Man City. I don't think he was moaning then. Look, forget the Manchester City side of things. Look, they have got a blueprint there that is working, is tried, and it is trusted. And lots of other football clubs now are mimicking what City have done. Manchester United have just got better, competent people in place. And I'm sorry, I don't agree with Scholes on this one, because I think these are the right types of people to bring into Manchester United. What club you've worked for before doesn't really count for anything these days. It doesn't. It's if you're good enough to handle the pressure of being at a massive football club at Manchester United. You cannot think like it was back in the 90s. It isn't there anymore. It's not the same as what it was football. So realistically, I understand their arguments, and I think it's easy to go in it when things are bad. But to be having a go at Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox, because Wilcox worked at City's academy, look at the academy. Look at what it did. Look at what it provided. Look at what they won. Omar Barada, look at the model, the wage structure. Paul Scholes and Nicky are probably going to be going on about these players earning absolute fortunes and being overpaid. But this is what Omar Barada at Manchester City was in control of. The wage structure, making sure that you didn't spend above your means, making sure that you didn't go into millions of pounds of debt. You need these characters and these people at your football club. And if you don't, you'll sink, like we did with the Glazers before Ineos came in. Like, I'm sure Paul Scholes is feeling a bit better with who is in place at United rather than what was there before. Because let's be honest, what was there before was dragging this club into the depths of despair. So, yeah, I do think that they have got a point. As United people, as they say, you're probably not happy about that, but still, you've got to say that Manchester United really had to make changes and move forward. So, again, I think it is just people lashing out, and Manchester United's former United players looking at it and just going too far back. It cannot be the same as what it was, and it never will be the same as what it was. Right, honey and lemon in, and let's move on with the comment section. How many youth are really knocking on the first team door, says Ant with the super chat, and another one in from Sean as well. Thank you very much, mate. Don't give a crap about former players' opinions. Footballers were generally unentitled at school, so they played sports. Why? Unintelligent in school, sorry. Unintelligent at school, so they played football, played sports. Why should we now listen to their drivel? Get a GCSE, boys. Neville is a prime example. Great show, mate. Thank you very much on that one, Sean. Strong points as well. It is like, are they saying too much? Is it too easy for former players to come in and slaughter what's happening right now? Like, football has changed. They're not involved. Nicky Butt was there and now has gone on. He is doing punditry, podcast, media work, like Scholes. They haven't coached. They don't understand what it's like in the new world. I don't think they ever will. And I think that's why they're probably entertaining. And don't get me wrong, like, I've got nothing against anybody who's got an opinion at all. Everybody's opinion is valid, and that's why we love good football debates. And Paul Scholes and Nicky Butt are good at it. I like the pairing. I like the fact that Paddy McGuinness is in there as well. The dynamic just seems to work, and some of the stories are fantastic, and it does take you down nostalgia road. But come on, you have to get in with the new age and how things work and operate. And they're a million miles off it, Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes. As much as I love them to bits, and I really do, I just think they are a little bit detached from the reality of what modern-day football is. It does not work like that at all anymore. I mean, can you imagine someone putting someone into a tumble dryer as an initiation ceremony like Paul Scholes did back in the day? That shows you how far away it was. I mean, if someone did that now, it'd be all over social media, wouldn't it? So, yeah, again, it's in a way like what Sean says in the super chat there as well. These players, all they know is football. It's like, why would we listen to you talking about football business and how a football club should be run and structured when all you did was play football in a golden era with one of the greatest managers, if not greatest, to ever walk the planet? A lot of people would take that firm stance on that and just say, well, no, just get back in your lane. But look, they're entitled to talk about it. And there's a lot of people that might actually agree. There are Manchester United fans out there, I know, that just like, I can't handle this. I seen a video last night. I think it popped up on social media that I just was scrolling through. And it just said, like, if you was a kid that was born and raised in the 80s and the 90s, you've seen the changeover and you've got two different looks on things where it's like, Now you're born into the world and you've got all the technology, the social media and everything that's driven in to you. That's all you know. But an 80s and a 90s kid like myself, you've seen what it was before, and you've actually witnessed the change in how society is and how football is and how everything all combined is now with this changeover. And it has changed, and you have to get to grips with it. We'll have our opinions of it, but that will be forgotten soon enough. Them days are long gone, and football is never going to work the same way. There are some elements that are obviously there, like the simple, like you just fight for your teammates, get stuck in and everything like that. It's just, football's changed. I listened to Bruno Fernandes. He was doing an interview, I think, with Sky yesterday, and he was talking about the formation and the system and how football's changed. And back when he joined Manchester United and he was playing at number 10, he had Paul Pogba and Nemanja Matic behind him working. I think, in a way, Bruno Fernandes was actually talking about what might work perfectly now for him. And I think he's right. Like, honestly, if you had Paul Pogba and this is prime Pogba and prime Matic behind you, Bruno Fernandes would be unstoppable. That's the exact combination you need. Two other brilliant midfielders to work with him. And he's just saying that it's like the time and changing now. Now you've got Casemiro, we said, doing the passing through the lines. I'm not seeing that. And then you've got Manuel Ugarte now, who is hunting players down. And he did bring in Kobbie Mainoo as well, to be fair to him, doing his captain's bit and all of that. But, again, Mainoo third down on the list in the way that Bruno's talking. And Mainoo can be a player that does this and that as well on it. But it just feels like it's too complicated right now. And I'm not saying anything that Paul Scholes and Nicky said and all of the old school ways of football are what Bruno's talking about here or anything like that, but it does seem like it's just overly complicated now. And we can talk in our old school tone and say that it should be this and that. It's just not going to work these days, is it? This is how football now operates. And the way that Omar Barada and Wilcox have been brought into their line of work. Like, don't forget, like, they were, and Wilcox played in the 90s as well, so he's seen it all. He's seen the changeover. He's been successful at academy level, well thought of. Jason Wilcox actually is one of them people that Manchester United needed to get in. He had to be there at this club because he understands how it's gone from the old way of football to the new way. He has been and evolved around with it. So, look, United, until, and this is what I've always said to everybody on this show, until United are winning games, you're just never, ever going to get anybody talking in a positive tone. They won't even talk positively. They'll just shut up. There'll be nothing to talk about. That's what these people who are criticising Manchester United, they hate the facts. And I'm not saying this is Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes. They'll continue doing their podcast. It's not their be-all and end-all. And I'm sure they would love to talk about the positives of Manchester United, but the negative talk always outweighs the positive. And that's just facts, isn't it? It is with every walk of life. But Manchester United at the moment, even after we've won a game and we've had a quiet international break, all I'm hearing is negatives from people. Everyone actually talking down. I have got I went on Sky yesterday and I was arguing a point. So Sky do this thing, obviously. Now I'm part of Fanalysis, which is a fan-led website and app where we do our own ratings. You'll see me doing things on it, and you'll see me on Sky Sports doing it. As part of the Manchester United 11, as we call it, the starting 11, I go on and I represent Manchester United. So yesterday they built a show up of me versus a Liverpool fan and then a former Premier League player, Jay Bothroyd, it was, on the show. So they asked the question straight out, and this is kind of leading into the Liverpool weekend as well, isn't it? But they asked me the question. Well, it wasn't me. They put it out there first, and they asked a Liverpool fan, who is the bigger club? Who is the bigger club? And they're going on. And Jay Bothroyd saying it's bigger, it's Liverpool are bigger, they won more trophies. A Liverpool fan then starts going on about Manchester United, what they're clinging on to and what they used to be and how far United have got to go. And I'm just sat there in the opening of this section on Sky Sports and I'm just listening. I just waited my turn for it to have my say. And I just said it. And this is what I'm talking about now. All they did for 2 minutes straight was talk about Manchester United. I'm like, hang on a minute. I thought you were supposed to be arguing the point for Liverpool. and why Liverpool are the biggest club. But all he did was talk about United. And I just said straight back, I went, just to go back to the question at the top of the show, lads, who's the bigger club? The fact that a Liverpool fan and a former Premier League player is talking about what Manchester United are, and tells you exactly who the biggest club is. And that's Manchester United. We're always going to be talked about, and we're always going to be in the news. No matter what happens, they cannot live without Manchester United. And while it's negative, they're piling in on it. Honestly, it was funny. It was really funny doing the show. In fact, they've started sending me them video clips in full now. So I might start popping a few of them up on the channel as well, so you can actually see them in case you missed them. So we do have plenty of interactions on there. There's a load of Sky work going on now. So I might start putting them up here for you to see as well, just so you can see exactly how it operates and works. Back into the chats we go. Academy are not playing 3-4-3, not a vote of confidence in Amorim. For many years we have not produced youth with the right physicality. On that formation side of things, Don, I spoke about this actually yesterday, buddy, and it was, yeah, you're right, they don't play 3-4-3, they play 4-3-3. But this is the angle that the Academy's going down now. It's not aiming players to work for Ruben Amorim. It's aiming players to win. And I don't know if there's been a shift, because they did play the Ten Hag formation, the 4-2-3-1. The Academy played that, and Ten Hag wanted that to be put in place. Ruben, no. I don't know if it's Ruben or if it's Wilcox or the structure. But all of a sudden, like what Nicky Butt said, you have to be winning things. They're playing a formation that suits them, and they're winning. The under-21s, the under-18s, going down the leagues. Manchester United are winning a lot. And maybe this is the change. And maybe Nicky Butt's got a point. Maybe it is about just breeding winners. We shouldn't be looking at formations. Footballers should be able to play any formation that any manager has ever put out there or created. There is no excuse whatsoever. And with the super chat says, what pisses me off is the 92 boys don't realise just how much their words have an effect. They are still heroes to our current kids. They just say less for F's sake. I know what you're saying, mate. They're never going to, though. That's the thing with them. They're going to be constantly talking about everything around Manchester United. And I think someone brought this up the other day. It was Gary Neville and everybody talking about what Ruben Amorim was saying about the influence the media and the pundits have on the team. They're listening to you. They are listening. And I'm fighting against that. Well, everyone's going to have an opinion. This is just the world we live in. So I get what you're saying, mate. It's annoying, but still, like, we do the same. We're talking about it. We're all over YouTube. And some YouTubers are actually bigger and have more of an influence than some former players now. And this is the way that the world's going again. Like the change that I was talking about before, like my opinion on my show and what we do, we've all got opinions of what happens. And I think this is just going to be the same with all the former players. It's never going to stop, mate. And I think it's down to the players and how the football club manage the actual academy players coming through. Can they build their mentality to a point, like Nicky Butt says, can they develop winners? Can they develop leaders? The attitude, that mentality, can they get that from Manchester United's academy? John says, class of 92 came through in the 80s. I was a kid then, used to get smacked at school. Different now. You can say that again, yeah. I was born in the early 80s and came through. Late 80s to 90s, it was still a different world altogether then. But I can imagine what it was like in the 80s. Some of the stories that my mum and dad used to tell me, I'm sure everyone else is the same, how different it was, and you didn't get away with things. The old board marker was the big one. In fact, get into the comment section if you've got any of them stories as well. But the old board marker being thrown across the classroom if you wasn't paying attention, that was one that keeps coming up as well. Excuse me. Let's get a few more comments in. Silverback, who has just renewed his membership. Love this channel. 2 more months till I go gold. Love that, Silverback. Keep it coming, mate. Really appreciate the support, buddy. Skynet says ex-players. I was just thinking of Terminator when I seen that name there. Then ex-players are as confused or in different camps, just like the fans, because we are crap. At the end of the day, you pretty much summed it up there. Manchester United are bad, so people are talking about it. People are talking about how bad. Like, how can they be this bad? That's what we're looking at right now. Anyway, that was that section. Anyway, I've said enough on that. Paul Scholes, Nicky Butt, going in big time on Manchester United and the hierarchy and what's actually going on. They've got opinions. They don't like it. The United fans, and they're just like us. But they are a little bit detached, I think, from the reality of the modern football world. I do believe that. But hey, look, their opinions are as valid as ours, and some people will agree with them, and some people actually think that their influence will make people think that way. Like they'll have an influence over other people's opinions. I don't think that's the case. I don't, but yeah. Right, moving on. Joshua Zirkzee and Marcus Rashford in the news with Fabrizio Romano last night. And again, the Joshua Zirkzee story, we know what's going on. We've talked about it plenty. 82 minutes, that's all he's had throughout this whole season so far. And that's in all competitions. Clearly not enough. Hasn't featured in the last 3 games either for Manchester United. And, well, we know how we feel. We know what's happening with Zirkzee. He's got to find another football club. But Romano has been talking about Zirkzee and wanting to fight for his place for the time being. And Romano's just teeing this up again. He's doing his Romano thing here. So what Romano said was that Joshua Zirkzee at this moment wants to fight for his place. Well, of course, because we're still 3 months away from the transfer window opening. So he's got to. So stating the obvious on Joshua Zirkzee. And Manchester United then, after that point, will decide on what they do with Joshua Zirkzee when the window opens. He'll be loaned out. It looks like there is a loan coming for Joshua Zirkzee. If I was Manchester United, I would just be selling him at this point because he's clearly not going to feature. United might be able to use that money. And, of course, we can make a space for an academy player. At worst case scenario, there's no reason why Joshua Zirkzee stays at Manchester United this January. Sounds horrible saying that, and I feel sorry for him in a way. He was brought through by Ten Hag, and he just wasn't needed. And again, he's just another player that is a victim of really, really poor recruitment. That is Joshua Zirkzee in a nutshell. He just wasn't needed at the time, and now again, we just brought in another 2 players ahead of him in that position, even after getting rid of one as well. He's got no chance. So, Romano's saying that he would be open and it could come to a point where there is a loan in January for him. I don't see it being any other way. There's not a chance unless we have one of the worst injury crises in Manchester United's history. Joshua Zirkzee is gone from Manchester United in January. And I don't blame him. I don't think there's anybody that would say that Joshua Zirkzee needs to stay and stop moaning. He's not going to play. He can work as hard as he wants. And Romano's just teeing up his January bonanza, really, isn't he? That's all he's doing with that story. He's just talking about United looking at the situation. They want to keep him. He's a part of the plans, blah-de-blah. What a load of crap. Not happening. And you could say, like Ant says there in the super chat, just bring, and everyone keeps bringing AFCON up. Ruben must go for the cup, so need players. I'm sorry, you've got Ahmad, Shea Lacey coming through. You've got Cunha, you've got Bruno. I just don't see Zirkzee featuring enough. And let's not forget, it's 4 months of the season. Whether he features or not in that time, I still think Manchester United need to sell him. Cheers for the super chat, Ant. And it's one of them, isn't it? You don't want players to leave, but the reality is they're just never going to play. Does anybody in this chat think this season Joshua Zirkzee will get 3 games in a row? Because that's what you're looking for. You need at least 3 games to find your feet. Is there anybody in the chat this morning that thinks that Zirkzee is going to get several games this season at some point? He's not going to, is he? He's definitely not going to get ahead of Bruno Fernandes, Cunha and Bumo, Ahmad, Mount. It's just like, even if, like we say, you could possibly beat in there for when the AFCON players go away. And we're talking Ahmad and Bumo. I mean, straight away, I look at Bruno stepping up, Mainu fitting in the midfield. I think he would do that before he plays Xerxes. I see, obviously, Mason Mount ahead of him. I see the likes of Cunha ahead of him. And if they're looking to bring Shea Lacey through, that's the biggest sign for me out of all of this, is the Shea Lacey news and what's been spoken about with him at the moment. That's how I see this developing. 20 minutes per month is what he's on right now. Pogba and Magic central midfielder is a thing we can only dream of, says Carl. Nobody has the deft touch of Xerxes apart from Mbumo. Imagine how these two could feed Sesko. I think we're forgetting about Cunha there as well. And to be honest, the tenacity and energy levels, and I feel mobility of Mason Mount will always top trump Joshua Xerxes. He's done. He's not going to feature, in my opinion. I can't see how. And I understand the AFCON side. And I understand people talking about that comment there as well. Like, his touch, yeah, great. But you're looking at an intense system and formation that Ruben Amorim wants to play. If Xerxes was going to feature, you would have seen him this season. He's playing players right now on the brink of losing his job that he trusts, and we've not seen Xerxes once. That's all I'm saying. I can't see it. He'll be gone in January, and that will be that. Simple. Connor says, "Hi Adam, love the show. There is a misspelled word in your tagline at the bottom of bottom. I'm not sure if anybody has told you yet. Misspelled word. I'll sort that out later, mate. Thank you for that, Connor. Sometimes I read messages out that completely slaughter me. It's just the way it is. But I appreciate people looking out for me at the same time as well. Xerxes has the same hindrance as Mainu, pace. I get that. Yeah, and like I said, the mobility, like, is he agile enough? Can he get around as quickly as what a Mason Mount could? Can he be as intense in the press as what Mason Mount could be? I don't think he can. I don't think he's got that in his game at all. In fact, in terms of the system there, you've got players like Matthijs de Ligt. These are the players that Ruben are going to trust in. And de Ligt's been talking as well. And this has come from Jason Burt from The Telegraph. He says, in modern football, even if you play a back four, almost all teams play by building with three defenders. And we do often defend with four defenders. It's always easy to say system this, system that. But in the end, it's always adaptable in the game. There's no situation where the system is always the same in the game. In that way of being flexible and in the structure, we have to find a way to get everything right and make everything happen. So again, Matthijs de Ligt there. You're talking football IQ, really, aren't you there? Like knowing exactly how to work the system and how it changes. That's what we're looking at here. Okay, in the in the other news from Romano as well, he's been talking about Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford will do anything possible to try and get this move away from Manchester United and make his deal permanent at Barcelona. Great stuff. I was having a go at Marcus Rashford the other day. Wayne Rooney was talking about it yesterday, about the environment quote that he came out with. Don't care. Look, at the end of the day, blame as much as you want on your failings at Manchester United. I don't care anymore. I'm just really happy that Marcus Rashford has seen sense and wants to get that move permanently to Barcelona. The word from Fabrizio Romano was he would take a significant pay cut to join Barcelona. Whereas, like right now, he's on that 350 to 375 grand a week wage. Barcelona can't afford that if they're going to pay a transfer fee as well, with their financial constraints and everything that's going on. And Marcus Rashford apparently is going to reduce his wage so Barcelona can pay the fee and then afford a structured wage, basically, is what Romano is saying here in this one. And it's music to my ears. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. He's been talking this week about being Barcelona's leading goal scorer and leading assist maker. Great. All we care about is you leaving and Manchester United being able to move on. I said this all along. Marcus, just go and smash it, mate. Kill it. Keep killing it. Keep convincing Barcelona that they cannot afford to let you go. I'll take the 26 million now and I'll run with that to the bank and ready to make a bid for somebody else in the summer. And we said this before. The fact that Rasmus Højlund and Marcus Rashford, who are not doing anything for Manchester United this season, are going to bring Manchester United near £100 million in the summer. That being with no wage to pay for either player and £64 million worth of transfer fees on top. Yes, please. I'm taking that all day long. And that's where Manchester United, I think, really need to double down and be brutal. Like I've talked all week about players that need to be moved on from this football club. If you want to be sustainable and profitable, like Sir Jim Ratcliffe is saying, then it's time to let go of these players. Paul Scholes, in that same podcast that we were talking about a moment ago, was absolutely slaughtering the fitness levels and being able to play at the highest level for the likes of Casemiro, Luke Shaw and Harry Maguire. See, there's one side of us where we listen to Paul Scholes and Nicky Butt and go, dinosaurs. Get up to date. Get in with the modern age of football, lads. Come on. But then on the other side, it's like, well, they're dead right. Like, them players are all players that Manchester United fans want out this summer and gone. Why are we clinging on to them? And Paul Scholes on that side of it, he's completely right. Get them players out of this football club. Get them out now. Otherwise, we're never going to be able to make that step forward. And we're never going to be able to get this club moving again. And this is the problem that this club has got right now. It really is. The likes of Marcus Rashford show and prove there. Look at what finance and financial opportunity Manchester United have got by moving him on. Yeah, because he's a problem off the pitch doesn't mean you should look at that and say and compare him to the professionalism of Harry Maguire. That's good. That's a standard. That should be what is expected day in, day out at Manchester United. Professionalism. Oh my God, that word has been completely forgotten in football these days around Manchester United's, around Carrington and Manchester United. Like, this is what these players should be expect. This is what should be expected of them. This is what we think they'll actually be like. You're professional footballers. Acts like professional footballers. I don't care if Harry Maguire is loved around the football club. That's what I expect. You're playing for Manchester United. The decision should be based off of how good you are as a player. And if you are going to improve that first team. We're talking about managers losing their jobs. Manager after manager after manager. And the fan base are crying out. We cannot be that sacking club. It's the same cycle again. Yeah, because the players are not professional enough. You've just heard Matthias de Ligt there. I just read that quote out for you. How the system isn't the problem. And people can go on about it. He basically threw that down there as it's the player's fault, Matthias de Ligt. That is a professional footballer. And he, at the moment, is more effective than what Harry Maguire would be in Man United's side. That's the player I want to keep. Thank you, Harry, but it's time to go. Contract over. United should have had a plan already in place to have someone coming in to replace Harry Maguire. Not clinging on to him because he's liked at the football club. Like, seriously, where have the levels and the standards gone? This is what we're talking about. And I think there's an element of what Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes have said in what they're saying there with Harry Maguire. They're not having a go at the man. They're not having a go at what the player is. They're looking at the pitch. They're looking at the results. What Harry Maguire is off the pitch is what they were every single day. The respect, the professionalism, the standards, the culture that Manchester United were, that winning mentality. And Harry has got it. I'm not saying I think he's got the perfect Manchester United mentality. But someone above, and this is why they're having a go at the management of Manchester United, someone above has to be able to make that call and see the issue at United and that the results are the only problem right now. Look, we're doing well at academy level. That side of it, like we discussed before, that's getting better. The women's team are smashing it as well. Well done to them for in the week as well. Another Champions League win for them. Everyone else at United seems to be smashing it in every department, apart from the one common denominator, which is that first team. So maybe it is time that we actually looked at what, like Scholes has said, the Maguires, Casemiros, Luke Shaws of this world, Get them out of this football club. It doesn't matter how professional they are they good enough? And then set that tone. Like, are they leaving them players there just so they can be an example to people coming in? Set the example when they walk through the door. Like, this is what we expect from you. Otherwise, you won't last here at Manchester United. You don't need players to do that. And look, I understand there's an element where if you've got a good core of players, then everyone else will latch on to that, and that will be how it works. But you're really bringing in players to Manchester United and saying this is how you should behave. And people are looking at these players going, right, this is what Manchester United is. If I am good and I'm professional and I'm liked around the club, I'm going to stay here on stupid amounts of money. No, there needs to be a standard level set for what you perform like. And I'm sorry, Shaw, Casemiro, Harry Maguire have not met that level, amongst many others. So I get what Paul Scholes is saying. He's going in on the fitness side of it and things like that, and then players not being able to last. If you can't play 90 minutes for Manchester United and you need to be nursed through every game, you do not belong at Manchester United. You should be able to play 2 games a week, 2 90-minute games a week. That should be the standard at this football club. Again, I'm going down what I think and what I expect from Manchester United. Look, you could say that that's me talking like Scholes and Nicky Butt there. Like, I have old standards and I expect Manchester United to be held to them standards, and that's what it should be. Should it not? You're supposed to be the biggest football club in the world. I'm arguing with Liverpool fans on Sky Sports about who is the biggest football club, and then I'm coming on my own show here on Forever United TV trying to make excuses for players who have just got a good attitude, and that's okay. No, that's not right, and that shouldn't be what this football club is all about. There needs to be a lot more, and I get it. I get, and that's why I led with the Scholes and the Nicky Butt story at the top rather than the other news, because everything what they're saying, it all leads into what's happening right now. And in talking about the events of United and what they discussed in their podcast, it brings up all of these conversations about Rashford, about Maguire, about the management, the academy, and everything like that. At the moment, Manchester United, we're a bit all over the place, and I think everyone can see that. But the right people, I feel, are in at Manchester United now, and I think we should move forward from it. There's no excuse not to, I don't think. Sean asking there, I've got watch along today. We have got the Arsenal watch along planned in for later on Football Talks, everybody. So we're looking to get that. We're looking to get that one in the bag. I will let you know later on, depending on how I feel. I can't believe I've actually managed the last 42 minutes in this show, to be honest. My tone is really low and I'm trying to keep under that line, that threshold, because if I go above and I do an Adam moment, which you all know I've got, then I might just blow the voice again and go into a coughing fit. So I can feel it. It's just there. It's trying to creep up and take me out at the moment. But no, I will let you know later on. Obviously, I'm nursing it and I am fine. I'm completely fine. I feel really good. It sounds a lot worse than what it is. Like I said earlier on, I've just got to make sure that I don't overdo it, let's just say. So, yeah, I will be back later with an FUTV live show. That's definitely happening. And then I'll decide if we're going straight into that watch-along later. So, the show this afternoon is going to be an earlier one as well. So, we're going to lead it in to the... so, we're going to be probably in and around... What time we're going to be starting it? So it's probably going to be around about the 4:30 sort of mark this afternoon. And then we'll go from there. But does anyone in the chat want to do that watch along later? Let me know. Is that one you want to do? We can carry on. We can entertain ourselves and have a good chat leading into the Liverpool game as well. Should we join together and watch that Fulham versus Arsenal watch along on Football Talks later? Get in the chat and let me know, everybody. What all about being a real man and a professional? What old about being a real man and a professional? And thanks for the super chat, mate. Not sure where you're going with that one, to be honest, buddy. Did you miss a word out in there? Is that what's wrong about being a real man and a professional is supposed to say? Maybe. Look, I get what you're saying there. Nothing at all, mate, is the answer to that. Ross says, a formation isn't the problem. The problem is who Amorim picks to play in the important positions. See, this leads into what I've just been saying. Somebody at this football club needs to take charge and make the calls of the players that are good enough. Look, Dalot, top guy. I'm telling you that now. I've interviewed him. Mint. He's brilliant. His attitude is fantastic. And you like Cristiano Ronaldo talking about him and things like this. Does anyone care? No one sees this off the pitch. And no one cares about me saying that Dalot's a great guy. All they want to see is him absolutely destroying it on the pitch and supporting him. But right now, all he's getting is criticism because he isn't good enough. He isn't. And 8 years worth of Dalot near enough now. 6, sorry. Is it 6? No, it's nearly 8, actually. 2026, he's been here 8 years, hasn't he? God, that tells you everything, doesn't it? That, I think, is what we're talking about here. And the point that Ross makes there is Ruben picking them players. Yeah, it is Ruben picking them players. And I think eventually there'll be players that he is going to pick that are just good players. And we know that they're going to be good in the game. And that's what you would hope the hierarchy, the recruitment team and everybody at Manchester United get to. And that's the point that they do get to. Dalot was mediocre 5 years ago, just a decent athlete. There is a guy, he's called Ruben Amorim, says Andrew. Lawrence with the chat just before that on Dalot as well. Again, yeah, Ruben, we've got our opinions on what the better players are, haven't we? But we'll see. If Ruben picks Dalot, then Ruben will take the critique again for that. Simple as. Sorry, Adam, we have 2 shows today, matinee and evening show today. Our final performance is going to be shattered today. Tomorrow, you're going to be shattered tomorrow. So, no, don't worry about it, Andrew, at all, mate. Hopefully you have a good day, pal. Will the youth see the state of our club and believe this is history, elite mentality and winning environment? No, class of 92 did. Standards have slipped. The class of 92 did. The standards have slipped. So what do they expect? We're in the mud. Manny says, who else does he have, Adam? The academy, it's free windows until he gets what he needs. Manny, you have to let that free window thing go, mate. There are players that he can play instead of Dalot. There are players he can play instead of Bruno. There are players he can play instead of Maguire and Shaw, and he's not. That's the point people are making. There are players there now, mate, that are better than them players. So, yeah, I get what you say, mate. You can defend him, and you always have done, and credit to you for that, buddy. But there are players there. Dorgu is a better player than Dalot. He is. Ahmad is a better option at right wing back than Mazraoui. Mazraoui is a better option in the back three than Luke Shaw. And Lenny Yoro is a better option at centre back than Harry Maguire. He is. And they all are. But that's the point people are trying to make, I think. Not having a go about what Ruben's doing as such. It's what he's picking, who he's picking. Because these players have shown nothing on the pitch to warrant a place in this side. It's as simple as that. Like, Dalot has done nothing in any game to prove that he should be a regular starter. And neither has Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw's been good at home, but awful away from home. Look, and that's the argument people have got. And I'm not having a go. This is down to Ruben. He's going to pick that team. And so, yeah, I mean, I'm just saying why people would actually have a go at Ruben for picking certain players. And I'm one of them. For picking Dalot, I'm sorry, it's not right. It isn't. And he keeps having stinker after stinker after stinker and still plays. That's what a lot of people have got an issue with. I was calling for Dalot to be sold 4 years ago. It's going to be another Shaw, Phil Jones, Maguire, isn't he? It says Daz Sweets. Let's see. You never know. You do never know. Thank you for all the likes as well, everybody. We're over 200 of them. Please pop a like on the video and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Also, make sure that you hit that subscribe button as well, everybody. The content is going up a notch over the weekend. Don't forget, everyone, as well, for tomorrow's game against Liverpool, we have our match bingo special going on. It is 5 tickets for the price of 4 right now. If you download the app off the link in the description or in the live chat, or the QR code when it pops up on your screen. Download the app, create your account for free. When depositing your minimum deposit of £10, pop into the promo code FUTV, all capitals, and you will be boosted by 100% on that deposit amount. So you could put more in and have that boosted if you wanted to give yourself a better chance. But the minimum deposit is £10. Please gamble aware. You have to be 18 above and be a UK resident to play the game. But it is a simple game to play, and loads of people in our community have won already and are winning big on Match Bingo. You are missing out if you haven't already downloaded the game and played it. We are going to be playing it for the Liverpool game tomorrow, and Match Bingo again are our match day sponsors for that game. Looking forward to it and scared at the same time. But at least we might be able to give ourselves a few winnings to make any result either sweeter or a little bit bittersweet. Let's just say that. And we will have a laugh with it as well, everybody. So keep them coming in. Make sure that you get your Match Bingo cards in now, everybody, because we are winning big this weekend, I promise you. Anyway, other news as well. Quickly, I just want to run through it. Yeah, Garnacho has been running his mouth again. He's on social media. Just wanted to bring this up just to remind people of how lucky we are that we have actually got rid of a player like this. He's come out and made the comment that if Chelsea was 11 versus 11, they would have got more out of that game. I'm sure we were playing 10 against 10 for a good half of that game as well, and you still lost. Look, again, there's no story here at all. I just wanted to bring it up and laugh at the points. On my screen right now, I've got a picture of Garnacho and a picture of Marcus Rashford. And I'm going, I'd still rather be where I am now than have them two still in my side. So there's a good positive to wrap up the show there, isn't there, really? It is a case of, yes, we are moving forward. It is going to take time. It is going to be difficult for Manchester United. Ruben does need support. He needs backing. He does need to make some calls himself, though, and help himself out. We'll give him that. But the fact that this Manchester United hierarchy and management team have managed to move us past that phase is a big, big plus point. So that is us, and that is us all done. I'm really proud of myself, actually, for making it through past 50 minutes on the show there. I don't know how I've done it. I guess it's just getting the right medicines in and not going too crazy. And so I will rest my voice. I will see you all later on. There will be a Forever United TV live show around about 4:30 this afternoon, a bit earlier, because we're going to lead that possibly into the Arsenal watch-along against Fulham on Football Talks. Get into the comments if you want that to happen. Make sure you grab your Match Bingo tickets now, everybody. The link is in the live chat description and the QR code is up on your screen there, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for being part of the show this morning. Have a fantastic Saturday. I'm off to watch some grassroots football now, and I'll see you all later this afternoon. Have a good one, everybody.